So as you can tell by the YouTube video title, this is going to be a conversation about how I rebuilt my life with habits, discipline mindset, and zero motivation. So I guess the first question is, who is this video for? I would say that this video is for anyone who feels stuck. If you're in a part of your life where you just feel that nothing's moving, if you're lacking motivation, which I personally don't really believe in that term, or if you're just generally tired of surface level advice, whenever I would look for growth mindset content to shift my way of thinking, it would always be from people who are extremely successful, completely out of touch, I found. And yeah, these people had millions of views and a huge fan base, but it just felt like none of it was really resonating with me. It was more absorbing the content just for the fact that I was absorbing content that wasn't Netflix. So yeah, I mean, if you're feeling stuck, I definitely know the feeling. A bit of a backstory on me. So I think everything was fine throughout my teens, but then I was introduced to quite hard drugs, about 21, 22. And I felt that numbed everything in terms of personal development, growth, you know, my friendship group, that was the key focus. Going out on the weekends, it would just be fueled with alcohol, drugs, and just feeling stuck. So yeah, I was in this cycle for a good couple of years, probably say throughout the majority of my 20s. And then I got into a relationship where I moved quite far away from home, which was probably one of the best and worst things that happened. It was a good thing because obviously I was taken out of that environment of going out all the time and mixing in those kind of circles that I knew deep down just wasn't helping me. But the bad thing was that it was probably one of the most toxic relationships that I'd had. Obviously I'm not going to get into too much detail with this now on this video, but yeah, there was a lot of issues in this relationship that took me a good number of years to heal from. So yeah, that led me into my 30s then. And at that point, I decided to move back home, ended up buying a house, and I was here on my own, disconnected from my friends who were still very heavily involved in that lifestyle of going out. I think they'd asked so many times, I just kept saying no, because obviously I lived quite far away. They just stopped asking. So yeah, I thought that this was probably the best time to kind of re-steer the ship in terms of my life, my mindset, my goals, where my focus should be. But there was still this resistance where I felt like I was able to do more, and almost like an underlying frustration. So I started doing my best, putting habits, which I'll explain in this video, and systems in place, which genuinely I feel changed my life. I don't want to sit here and say that I'm perfect, like I haven't cracked it. I don't think anyone out there has cracked it. You know, everyone has weak moments. Everyone has days where they're a little bit heavier than others, days where they can't be bothered, days where the world is a little bit heavier. But in general, I feel that compared to where I was before, it's a completely different person. Like I look back on photos and videos of me from nights out, and oh my god, it was bad. It was really, really bad. But yeah, in a much better place now. Feel that I'm definitely on the right path, and I think as well with me, I'm naturally quite an introvert. Usually keep myself to myself. So starting this whole YouTube journey and having an online presence is uncomfortable, I guess is the best word to use. But I feel that I need to, it's been something that I've wanted to do for a while, and I've always labelled myself as not able to do that. So here I am, doing it. But yeah, just going back onto the topic of who this is for, if you feel that you don't have motivation, you don't need motivation. What you need is a plan. and you need to stop relying on this thing called motivation that won't happen and start relying on systems and habits that really can change your life. One thing that I do want to mention as well about starting over is that there isn't a light bulb moment where you wake up on a Monday morning and, at least for me, think, right, today is the day where everything changes. It will come to you, but it could be on a random Tuesday afternoon, and those moments have come to me so many times where I feel, right, now needs to be the time to make a change, and nothing happened. But when you get that feeling, that is when you really need to start thinking, okay, I'm getting this feeling for a reason, things need to change. I'm obviously not happy with my life at the moment, I'm feeling stuck. Today needs to be the first day of the rest of my life. But yeah, a lot of people think maybe laziness is an issue as well. I feel that laziness is just untethered wandering, where there's no goals, you haven't set your sights on anything properly, firmly, and it's just not knowing what to do next. So doing nothing is comfortable. I think when people think that they need to change and they realise that doing nothing is better than doing something and failing, that's where you really need to shift your mindset on that, because doing something and failing is 100% better than doing nothing. There's a saying where it says, I'd rather be a bad runner than a good channel surfer, which is true, you know. And plus, if you do something for long enough, you're only going to get better. So you need to appreciate being bad at the start. That comes with everything. But yeah, guys, it's not laziness. You know, you don't need these 5 a.m. wake-up calls. You don't need ice baths. You don't need any of that stuff. You just need structure, routine, and habits. Motivation has got nothing to do with it. Reality check time. So we need to get something straight right off the bat. If your days are easy, your life is going to be hard. You need to drill that into your head. If your days are easy, your life is going to be hard. So progress is supposed to feel uncomfortable. If it doesn't, it's not progress and you're not growing. So if you can remember back in school when you were studying for an exam, there could be things that you didn't know, and it would be uncomfortable to learn these things because you're pushing your boundaries of your knowledge. And through repetition, studying, you'll remember these things, putting them into practice, you'll go into the exam and you'll pass the exam. Life is so similar. You know, if your days are full of scrolling, comfort eating, skipping workouts, that feels great in the short term, but in the back of your head, you know that it's wrecking you. There needs to be consistency before any sort of change can happen. So the best way I can describe it is, imagine you're a character in a video game and the objective or the trophy is the life that you want. So obviously when you look at your life and you think of what you want to achieve and what you want to happen, imagine that's the end boss, that's the trophy right at the end of the game. So what kind of things would you do to that character to get there? You wouldn't get the gym achievement if you skipped gym sessions and controlled him to walk into a pizza shop and ate pizza all day. So the game would be designed and programmed to show you that character getting bigger, deteriorating, skin not looking great. If you were playing that game and you were eating pizza all day and all of a sudden you started losing weight and getting crazy muscles, you'd think that there was something wrong with the game. You'd think the game was broken. So why do you see your life any different? So that's one way to look at it. It's easy to make excuses in life as well. There's that negative, they're called negative automatic thoughts, NATs. So you finish a long day in work, you come home, you're tired, and one of those thoughts could creep into your head thinking, oh, I'm too tired, I can't be bothered to go for a walk. I'm too tired, I can't be bothered to go to the gym. But what you need to try and do is this doesn't happen overnight, but you need to slowly start disassociating yourself from those thoughts They're just thoughts. People get thousands of thoughts every day. If you acted on every single thought that you had, it just doesn't happen. You'd be a madman, you'd be crazy if you acted on every single impulsive thought that came into your head. Those thoughts aren't any different. So even though you feel tired, even though it's been a long day, if you go to the gym, you're not going to die. You're not going to, well, hopefully, you're not going to drive to the gym and the core of the earth is just going to swallow you up. Like, what is the worst possible case scenario? The worst case scenario is you drive to the gym, you're feeling really tired, you go into the gym, you work out for 15 minutes, you realise that you really are that tired, and then you come home. But I can pretty much guarantee you, chances are you'll finish the workout, or you'll get more than halfway through. If you're really that tired, like if you've been working like a 20-hour day, then I get it, like prioritise your sleep, prioritise recovery. But if you're working 9 till 6, come home for 6:30, there's nothing stopping you from going to the gym for half an hour, 45 minutes, and then it's done, it's ticked off. You don't have to worry about it again. You know, going out for a walk, it's not the end of the world going for a walk for 20 minutes after you finish work. But these are the small, uncomfortable things that you need to push through to be able to start stacking habits. So for example, if you want to get into walking, then there's nothing stopping you from, when you finish work, go for a 5-minute walk around the block and then come back. Do that every day. And then every other day, add 2 minutes on. So on day 1, you go for a 5-minute walk. Day 2, you go for a 5-minute walk. Day 3, you go for a 7-minute walk. Day 4, you go for a 7-minute walk. Day 5, you go for a 9-minute walk. And just slowly start adding things up like that. Walking is just an example. There's millions of different things that you could do. Things that you know that are good for you. Drinking more water, eating healthier. When it comes to food, I'll cover that in a minute. But you're the only person who knows what needs to happen in your life. If you really dissect it, because I could give you a million examples, but you need to make a list of things that you're not happy with in your life and start right at the beginning. Don't think to yourself, I'm going to run a marathon if you've never run before. You need to be thinking, I'm going to start by doing a couch to 5k and I'm going to complete it. And then once I've done that, I'm going to go into another running program. And then once I've done that, you need to slowly start stacking these habits, because if you bite off too much that you can chew right at the beginning, it's all going to come crumbling down. You're going to burn out. That's not how I did it anyway. I slowly built consistent habits over months and months and years until you get to a point where you're happy with your consistency and your life just looks completely different. But yeah, going back to the excuses, that's exactly what I did. And the slap in the face was me acknowledging the fact that I was the problem, which was great news because I also realised that I was also the solution. Okay, part 3, the action plan. Like I said earlier, start small. Guys, don't aim for having 10 new habits on day 1. Trust me, from someone who's tried this, it's not going to work. You're going to burn yourself out. You're going to feel overloaded. And it's just, yeah, it's not a good place to be in, because you'll just be reinforcing those thoughts in your head where you feel that, oh, I've tried it and it didn't work. And you don't want to get to that place where you feel that you've tried everything. So what I would recommend is just trying one new habit. Start today. Try it for a week. What you need to do with this habit is you need to make it hard enough that it feels like you've accomplished something and it felt like a challenge, but easy enough to know that you will 100% do it. So an example of this could be getting your steps in. I would recommend getting some sort of fitness tracker. I use an app Apple Watch, but you can get Fitbits. You can get cheap ones on Amazon as well. Guys, they're not really that expensive. Like, I know times are tough at the moment, but 50 quid, 60 quid, 70 quid, you can get yourself a step tracker. So if you've never done any walking before, if you feel that you need to lose a bit of weight, then that's definitely somewhere that you could start. Doesn't have to be anything insane. You know, you don't have to be walking up mountains on day one. But what you could do is maybe get yourself a step tracker and just see what your average steps are over the week. And once you've collected that data, you can use it as a game and think, right, next week I'm going to aim to hit 100 more steps a day. So what I like to do is, so I personally do 10,000 steps a day, but I look at it as 70,000 steps a week, because it just takes the pressure off. If one day I do 8,000, it's not the end of the world. The next day I might do 13,000, it averages out, but I religiously, consistently hit 70,000 steps a week, and that's a habit that's been built up over months and months and months. So the goal with this isn't perfection, it's momentum. Perfection is off the cards, it doesn't exist. You can never be perfect every day, but there's so many different things that you could do. It could be not snoozing your alarm. So when your alarm goes off in the morning, if you usually snooze it, or if you set 5, 6, 7 alarms, all 1 minute apart, still do that, but think to yourself, I'm going to get up on my first alarm, and just go into robot mode. As soon as your alarm goes off, stand up, and that's that. You need to try and make things as frictionless as possible as well when you're first starting out. So if that means putting your phone on charge on the other side of the room, where you know the alarm's going to go off and you have to get out of bed to get it. If you're in the mindset of, oh, that seems too hard, guys, you're missing the point. The point is to build habits that are going to help you. So if you feel that getting up on your first alarm is going to help you, and it's going to push you in the direction of the life that you want to have, then you need to have these uncomfortable situations. You need to put yourself through the uncomfortableness. I don't want to preach on this, but this is something that I feel is going to help. A move goal. So, like I've already mentioned steps, but if you wanted to get into running, get into running. There's nothing stopping you. You could start running tomorrow, today. You could start running, and within 18 months, you could be running marathons. You could be running ultra marathons. That's a fact. If you dedicate enough time, consistency, it's inevitably going to happen. It doesn't work like you start running and you get worse as time goes on. You start running and it's 100% fact that you will develop your running skills and you will get better. 100%. You're destined for success. Now, you might not be the fastest runner in the world, but you're going to improve. And once you've set yourself a goal and a target, there's nothing stopping you. Food is another big thing as well. So we all know that we need to be eating more protein. Look online, look for healthier meal options. You know, if you have takeaways 4 or 5 times a week, cut that down to 2 or 3 to start off with, and gradually start phasing in healthier meals. You can find all this kind of stuff online as well. There's so much information out there. We all know what we need to eat. High protein, whole foods. If your diet is KFC and McDonald's at the moment, and you completely switch it to whole foods and water tomorrow and eliminate that food out of your life, like I said, it's not going to work. You need to slowly, gradually bring these things in. But it doesn't have to be anything to do with health or fitness. It could just be one uncomfortable task that you know will benefit your life and that will snowball if you remain consistent. So for me, what helped me was getting a training plan together. I got myself a PT. I ended up losing quite a lot of weight. I was getting my steps in, was drinking water, training 3 times a week, running twice a week. And through showing up daily, I slowly changed who I thought I was. It was a complete identity shift, and I realised that I was capable of doing these things. And you know, over the last couple of months, building on these habits, it just becomes strange if you don't do them. So there are so many non-negotiables for me at the moment. Drinking 3 litres of water a day, 160 to 180 grams of protein a day, reverse diet at the moment, so I cut for probably about 4 or 5 months. So for anyone who doesn't know, that means reducing calories to lose weight. So I did that for a couple of months. Yeah, so I'm on a reverse diet at the moment, which is slow. It's like the stage between the cut and the bulk, basically. So the cut is where you're losing weight, the bulk is where you're putting on weight. But yeah, just since going through the process and knowing that water was good for me, and knowing that 10,000 steps a day was good for me, when you do it, at the start, it's a bit of a slog, but you just start building these habits day by day by day, to the point where it feels unnatural for me to not do things like this now. So yeah, guys, that's the action plan. Guys, I hope you got some value out of this. Like I said, I'm a new content creator, as a new YouTuber. That feels weird to say. You know, I'm fully aware that I probably look a bit uncomfortable on camera at the moment. This is all quite new to me. Like I said, my natural state is quite stoic, I guess, or I try to be. So yeah, this is pushing myself out of my comfort zone a little bit, but hopefully this can show you as well, guys, that even for people who you think have got it all figured out, they haven't. There's still areas of their life where they feel like they're struggling, where they feel that they could improve. If you feel that you've got any value out of this, then genuinely, like, I really would appreciate if you press that like button. I'm trying to grow a community online of people so we can all support each other. So if you feel that this resonated with you, then by all means subscribe. This channel is going to be focused on discipline, mindset, healthy eating, just kind of documenting my life really. I mentioned in previous videos as well, I moved to Australia in 4 months. So that's going to be a really exciting chapter in my life. But yeah, guys, I hope you got some value out of this. Any comments, given the fact that I've got less than 10 subscribers at the moment, I'll be replying to everyone. So if there are any questions, if you're struggling with anything, then by all means, drop me a comment. I'll be straight on there. I'll get back to you. I've also got an Instagram and a TikTok. So if you guys are using those platforms as well, my username is ant17dav. Come say hi, come follow along. You're more than welcome. But yeah, thanks guys. Really appreciate it. Try something new today. You might just surprise yourself.